In the super competitive hospitality world, there's always this massive question. Can a company actually be profitable and responsible at the same time? It's a tough one. So today, we're going to break down a blueprint for how to do just that. And we're using a 35 hotel chain called Levwell as our case study.
All right, so we're going to tackle this in 4 key parts. First, we'll look at the actual practical things they can do. Then, we'll get into the systems they need to manage it all. After that, we'll see how they can tell that story to the world. And finally, we'll look at the financial nuts and bolts that make it all possible. Let's dive in.
Okay, first up is the action plan. And look, this isn't about fluffy promises or just trying to look good. This is about the real, tangible steps Levwell can take to seriously reduce its environmental footprint.
So where do you even start? Well, you go after the big energy hogs: heating, cooling, and lights. When they do their regular room refreshes, they can pop in energy-efficient windows and better insulation. A chain-wide switch to LEDs? That's a no-brainer with a huge impact. And smart thermostats that know when a room is empty can save a ton of cash. But they can also get proactive, right? Investing in their own solar panels or buying certified green energy helps them tackle their Scope 2 emissions. That's basically the carbon footprint from the electricity they pull from the grid.
Next up, water. Just by installing low-flow fixtures, you can slash water use by up to 15%, and guests, honestly, won't even notice. But here's the really clever part. Levwell doesn't do its own laundry, so they can put rules in place for their suppliers, forcing them to use high-efficiency machines and eco-certified detergents. Suddenly, their positive impact stretches way beyond their own 4 walls and deep into their supply chain.
And of course, there's waste. It all comes down to that classic mantra: reduce, reuse, recycle. You know those tiny, single-use plastic shampoo bottles? Gone. Replace them with nice, refillable dispensers. It's a huge, visible win. Down in the kitchen, they can use AI or even just simple audits to cut down on food waste, and whatever's left over can go into a composting program. It's effective, and it's something guests really notice and appreciate.
And this plan doesn't stop at the hotel door. It goes right to the supply chain. This means making it a rule to only buy biodegradable guest amenities and cleaning products with a low environmental impact. And check this out, a simple logistical tweak. Consolidate all the non-food deliveries to the hotels. Fewer trucks on the road means a smaller carbon footprint. It's simple, but so effective. Okay, so Levwell has this awesome action plan, but how do they actually make it happen consistently across 35 different hotels? More importantly, how do they prove to everyone that they're actually walking the walk? Well, that's where management systems come into play. So they've got 2 main choices here: EMAS and ISO 14001. Here's the key difference, and it's a big one. EMAS is an EU thing, and it demands that you go public with your results in a verified statement. ISO 14001, on the other hand, is an international standard, but it gives you an internal certification. For a company like Levwell, that public credibility from EMAS could be an incredibly powerful marketing tool.
Now, getting that EMAS registration is no walk in the park. It's a rigorous process. You have to start with a deep dive into absolutely everything, from your energy bills to your supply chain. Then you build a policy, set up your management system, do your own internal audits, and then comes the big one. You have to prepare a public statement that gets checked and verified by an independent third party. Once you pass all that, you get to use the EMAS logo, which is basically a seal of approval that tells savvy travelers you're the real deal. The other option, the ISO 14000 series, is more like a whole toolkit. The main one, ISO 14001, gives you the core system, and it's built on that famous plan, do, check, act cycle. It's a really simple but powerful loop. You plan what you're going to do, you do it, you check the results to see how it went, and then you act on what you learned to make it even better next time. The other standards in the family are there to help you do it right, measure if it's working, and make sure that when you talk about it, you're being honest and not greenwashing.
All right, the systems are in place, the plan is running. Now for the next big hurdle. How do you actually talk about all this stuff? How does Levwell tell this amazing story of financial success and environmental stewardship to its guests, investors, and staff in a way that actually hits home? And the answer is something called integrated reporting. Think about it. Most companies give you 2 different books, a dense financial report over here and maybe a glossy sustainability report over there. Integrated reporting says, nope, let's put it all together. It's one single, concise story about how the company creates value in all its forms, not just dollars and cents.
This whole idea is built on something called the 6 capitals. The first one is financial capital. This is the one we all get, right? It's the money.
The cash, the investments, the funding that Levwell uses to run the business day to day and invest in its future. It's the fuel for the engine.
Second, we've got manufactured capital. This is all the physical stuff you can touch. The 35 hotel buildings themselves, the beds, the kitchen equipment, the computers at the front desk. For a hotel, this is literally the stage where the entire guest experience plays out.
Third is intellectual capital. Now this is the invisible but incredibly powerful stuff. We're talking about the Levwell brand name, its unique booking software, and all the standardized procedures that make sure you get the same great service whether you're in Paris or Rome. This is their secret sauce, their competitive edge.
Fourth, and this one is absolutely massive in hospitality, is human capital. This is the people. It's not just a headcount, it's the skills of the chefs, the motivation of the front desk staff, the experience of the managers. This is the capital that truly brings the company's values of care and teamwork to life for every single guest.
Number 5 is social and relationship capital. This is all about connections. It's the trust they've built with their guests that keeps them coming back. It's the strong relationships with suppliers. It's the goodwill they have in the local communities where their hotels are. This capital is all about loyalty and reputation.
And finally, number 6, natural capital. Now this one really flips the script. It treats the environment not just as some external thing to be protected, but as a core asset the business literally depends on. It's the water they use, the energy they consume, the beautiful locations their hotels are in. It's about recognizing that they have a duty to be good stewards of this vital capital.
And this is where it all comes together. This isn't just theory. For each of those 6 capitals, you can set real, measurable key performance indicators, or KPIs. So you're not just talking about our great brand. You're measuring your Net Promoter Score. You're not just saying you care for the environment. You're measuring your exact water consumption per guest. It makes the entire strategy tangible and data-driven.
Okay, but let's be real. None of this amazing stuff happens for free. It all has to be paid for. So this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the financial blueprint that underpins this entire strategy and makes it all work.
A hotel is really like 3 businesses in one, right? You've got rooms, food and drinks, and events. So it makes no sense to use a one-size-fits-all approach to costing. They need to be smarter. For the rooms, they use something called service costing to figure out the cost of one occupied room night. For the restaurant, batch costing works best for making, say, 50 portions of the same dish. And for unique wedding or conference, they have to use job costing, because every event is its own custom job.
Now, the absolute cornerstone of their budgeting has to be a flexible budget. Why? Because the hotel business is a roller coaster of high seasons and low seasons. A static, fixed budget would be useless by February. A flexible budget, though, automatically adjusts based on how many guests they actually have, which means they can measure performance fairly and accurately. And on top of that, they add 2 more smart layers. First, a rolling budget, which means they're constantly updating their financial forecast instead of just doing it once a year. This lets them react way faster to changes in the market. And second, they use activity-based budgeting. This is key for protecting quality. It forces them to budget based on the specific activities that create that first-class experience, which stops managers from just making random cuts that might hurt the brand.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? The real power of Levwell's blueprint isn't in any single piece. It's not just the LED lights, or the reporting, or the budget. The real secret sauce is how all of it, the actions, the systems, the story, and the financials, are woven together seamlessly. It all works in harmony. Which really leaves us with one big question. Is this deep level of integration no longer just a nice idea, but the new, non-negotiable standard for what it takes to succeed in any industry?